Hi, Steve from Brownells, and today we want to revisit cold bluing. Now, we've done this in the past, but I think it's worth doing again as far as the application, because there are some little tricks and tips that help make the job a lot easier. So let's take a look. A lot of the time when you're cold bluing, you will be dealing with just surface imperfections, holster wear, what have you. And you don't want to take the gun apart, you don't want to have it hot blued, you just want a quick fix that makes it look okay. So, easy enough. To begin with, you need a clean surface. So what I do is I clean the surface with a little alcohol. This is just regular old rubbing alcohol. Just in case there's some oil or something on there. Now I'm going to be using Oxpho Blue, which really doesn't care all that much if there is oil on there, but I do this just to get any kind of gunk that's on there off there. Now we take our Oxpho Blue. This is one of the little tips right here. Take a little bit and put it in a separate container and never put your applicator back in this bottle, because if you do, it contaminates the solution, and in a couple months this stuff it's just water after that. It doesn't work. So we've got our surface prepped. It's pretty warm in here, so I'm not going to bother warming the steel, but if you find you're not getting a good color, try warming this up to where it's still plenty easy to handle. You don't want it too hot to handle. You can even run it under some hot water just to get the temperature up on it. That speeds up the chemical reaction. So let's see, we've got some areas in here. Let's see what happens if I put a little Oxpho Blue on here. Now you can see it's trying to turn color, but not a whole lot. So let's try something else. With Oxpho Blue, you can take 4/0 steel wool and use that as an applicator. So let's dip that in there and rub this down and see if we can darken that up a little bit. If that doesn't work, we need something a little rougher to take the finish down, but since this is a highly polished piece, I'm going to settle for just darkening it a little bit. Now the other thing we can do, and this is what a gunsmith will do, is if this particular cold blue doesn't work, you try another one. We'll see if this does anything different here. And I'm going to use a fresh applicator. I don't have another separate vessel, so I'll just dip a fresh applicator in there. And now see, we're getting a little more black there. It's starting to take. You let it sit for a second. It'll never blend completely. You won't get that perfect factory type finish. And I'm going to try burnishing it just a tad too, just to see if that helps. Sometimes if it stops working and you burnish it a little bit, it'll start working again by reapplying. So we've darkened it up a good bit, and by reapplying it enough times, you will soon get to where it's very close to the original finish. After you do get it to where it's satisfactory for you, you take a clean piece of cloth like this. I'm using a cleaning patch, and I've got some water right here, and you wipe it down with water. Yeah, you wipe your gun down with water and dry it off. And what the water does is it dilutes and dissolves the cold blue finish, because that is what has acids in it, things like that, that'll cause after rust. Once you've done that, you just spray it down, wipe it again, and good to go. Now on this one, we did pretty well, and a lot of times cold bluing will not get you a factory type finish. Although I've seen guys that could do it by just applying it over and over and over again until they have a dozen coats, maybe 15 coats on there, and it gets closer. But we did pretty well in the limited time that we've got here. Now, if you've got clean metal to start with no finish on, like this freshly sanded piece of barrel, it's perfectly straightforward then. You just we'll take some more Oxpho Blue and we'll start applying it. Incidentally, this is a piece of 22 barrel, and if you want to practice cold bluing, 22 barrel is about the best stuff out there because it's mild steel, and mild steel likes cold blue better than anything. So there we go. We're even getting a little bit of a blue tint to this one in this light, which is kind of neat. Now I'm going to burnish it, see if I can get it to shine up just a bit, and then reapply it. And by doing that over and over, you will get a darker and darker finish. By the way, if you have access to a sandblaster, instant surface prep, very easy. It looks good, low luster, but this is starting to look good right now, and we've only done 2 applications so far. By the time you've done half a dozen, it looks as dark. It's starting to look as dark as the factory blue now. Not bad, you know, it's getting close. So once you've got it where you want it, go ahead, take your wet rag, use the water to dilute all that Oxpho Blue off there. Wipe it down, and then give it a little shot of some kind of oil. Rub it in. And we've got a pretty decent finish just with 3 applications there. Not bad at all. Now we could have gone 3, 4, 5 more coats and got it even a little deeper. The nice thing about Oxpho Blue is it's a very tough finish for a cold blue, probably the toughest cold blue out there. That's why I prefer to use it, and a lot of gunsmiths have it as their first choice. But the others are good too, especially if the Oxpho doesn't take on the particular steel you're trying to color. So with all that being said, if you have any questions or comments, please let us know down below or give us a call on the tech line. In the meantime, try to keep your guns from rusting, and we'll see you next time.